All He has done for me. Oh, my very soul shall sing of your goodness. Hallelujah. Praise God for saving. Oh, praise God for saving me. Lift your hands and say, oh, praise God for saving me. Praise God. Hey, hey. Oh, praise God. Hey, hey. You're Jehovah Ebenezer, Jehovah Ebenezer. You're Jehovah Ebenezer, na 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 na, Jehovah Ebenezer. Well, let's lift our voice and sing. Oh, you answer, Jehovah Ebenezer. Oh, Lord, you are, Lord, you are Jehovah Ebenezer. Now lift your hands and say, Lord, you are my helper. Say, Lord, you are my helper. Oh, Lord, you are my helper. Lord, you are my helper. If you're sick in your body, say, Lord, you are my healer. We say, oh, Lord.
You guys are welcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Okay. We are waiting for the time, and we are waiting for our panelists to join too. So kindly
Okay.
be patient while they join. And once it is time, we are going to start.
Huh?
You guys should just be patient once it is time, and if our panelists are here, we are going to join. We are waiting for them to join the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. We have one of our panelists here already. We have Engineer Orji Emmanuel here with us. So we are going to wait for Dr. Gerald to join. Then we are going to start as soon as possible. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, hello everybody. How are you doing?
We are fine now.
That's good.
I'm trying to reach Dr. Gerald. So, please let's wait a little more for Dr. Gerald to join the meeting. Then we'll start up. Yes, sir. Yeah, we are almost starting. I'm waiting for you, sir. Okay, thank you. So, in the next 5 minutes, Dr. Gerald will join us in the meeting. So, while we wait for him, if you have a question that you would like to ask the panelists on the subject matter, like how to stand out as a student studying in Russia, or if you are planning to come to Russia to study, how to stand out as a student, you can write down your questions at the comment section so that we are going to look into them. Whatever question you have concerning studying in Russia, how to come out the best, how to do your best, how to graduate with a first class, and cope with the language and difficulties, everything, whatever question you have, just put them down at the comment section, and our panelists will give an answer to them while we wait for Dr. Gerard to join the meeting. You are welcome. Remember to drop your question if you have any while we wait for Dr. Gerard to join the meeting. He would be here in no time at all. Let's wait patiently. Okay, while we wait, this seminar is titled A to Z, Studying in Russia, A to Z to Distinctive Success. The aim of this seminar is to help you as a student who is studying here in Russia and you who want to come to Russia to study, whether through scholarship or self-sponsorship, to come to Russia to study. All you need to know to come out as the best. The people we have in our panelists are those who have graduated from Russia with first class. They hold first class degree in their respective field of study. So we have Dr. Obi Gerald, who is a doctor and he graduated with a first class, and we also have Engineer Orji Emmanuel, who is also a first class graduate. So we have Engineer Ifeanyi here with us. Sir, please can you like say something so that they will see you while we wait for Dr. Gerald to join up. Engineer Ifeanyi, we are waiting for you. Just say something to us.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, my name is, as I already said, my name is Orji Emmanuel, and yeah, I just graduated a few months ago from Russia. and I'll be very happy to help you guys. So feel free to ask any questions. Don't look at the title, the engineer, and nothing like. Just talk to me. Feel free to talk to us as brothers, and we'll be happy to share.
Thank you, sir.
You
Okay, Dr. Gerald just joined the meeting right now. Sir, we're happy to have you here in our midst this evening. Okay, so like I was saying, this meeting is designed to help you come out the best in your study here in Russia, with the difficulties, with the different academic way of the Russians. So yeah, we have with us once again Engineer Ifeanyi and Dr. Obi Gerald, who just joined the meeting. You're welcome, sir. Sir, your mic is muted.
Yeah,
Aha.
so thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, so before we commence fully, this seminar is organized by the Student Place. The Student Place is a platform where we discuss issues relating to student lifestyle, the challenges that students face, opportunities for students, such as scholarship and other lucrative opportunities for students. We also look at the interrelationship between students and the school, students and the family, students and the society, and students with one another. So these are the topics we discuss at the Student Place. And we also have a YouTube platform where we discuss these topics. So if you are here and you've not joined the Student Place, just go to YouTube and search Student Place. You will see our YouTube channel. Then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that you can be part of what is going on here at the Student Place, and you can have a first-hand information regarding scholarships and other stuff that relate with student lifestyle. So to proceed to the meeting for today, I would like the panelists to briefly tell us about themselves, to tell us few things that they want us to know about themselves. So I'll start from Dr. Gerard. Sir, please tell us briefly about yourself.
Why can't I even see myself? Sorry,
Sir?
can everyone see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Gerald. I can't see myself. I need to see myself to know. Yeah, okay. All right. So my name is Gerald. Obi Gerald Chudubem. I'm a scholarship student, federal scholar FSB, a bilateral education agreement, like a federal PhD scholarship student right now. And yeah, Dr. Obi Gerald. I graduated from Sechenov University. Right now, I'm a resident doctor here in Moscow, Russia. I'm delighted to have each and every one of you here. And I don't know, I would like to know more of the people that I'm talking to actually, so that I'll get to know. And with me here, I have Engineer Orji Emmanuel. So this is a boss. This is he was once a president and all. And I'm glad that we are here to enlighten you guys about general education in Russia. And I really love the this whole idea, and I love the fact that I have such an opportunity that was presented to me by the Students Place to be able to share like a little bit of or a little bit of all I have actually with you guys. So let's feel free. I'm a Nigerian, of course. You all know. So let's feel free to really communicate. Okay, let's try to understand each other today so that we'll be able to achieve the aim while we're here. So by God's grace, we'll have more of this quite often when we have time, so that we'll be able to expose you guys to a whole lot of things. So I've been in Russia for 8 years. So I think maybe with my experience, I'll be able to maybe share one or two things with you guys. I mean, that's all I have for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir. Engineer Emmanuel, let's please tell us briefly about yourself.
Okay. I believe that I've already introduced myself before, but I didn't go down into details. I'm a biotechnology graduate from the Voronezh State University of Engineering Technology. And I'm very, very happy to meet each and every one of you. Although, yeah, with time we'll get to know your names and we'll get to know more about you people. And I graduated a few months ago, but currently I'm living and studying. I'm doing my master's program in Germany. But either ways, social media has made it easier for everybody to connect and share our knowledge and experience. Before the program starts, I just want to tell us, or I just want to let us know that it's an honor talking with you guys, and this is actually, I think this is the first time I'm seeing such a thing created. And I would like to thank Mr. Ezekiel. I would like to thank Mr. Ezekiel in this possible.
Thank you,
I would
sir.
also want to acknowledge my boss, Sir Gerald. He's, of course, I've been in Russia for a very long time, and he's one of the people I look up to. So me, I see it as a very great opportunity for me to be here, because I'm not only here to talk with you guys, I'm here also to learn from him, honestly speaking. And it's not easy. You should know that it's always possible to work hard enough for you to same platform with someone you look up to. So I acknowledge his presence here, and I want you all to feel free and, let's just learn together, okay? Because we're all here to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Once again, please try to drop your questions at the comment section. Whatever question you have for them, just drop them down so that they can look into it. So to commence, I have like few questions here I would like to ask, that which I believe that in that way would help you guys to give us more information and enlightenment about them. So my first question is, while studying here in Russia, what are the challenges you face, like personally, externally, with your lecturers, with yourself, and with your peers? Like, what are the challenges you face while studying here in Russia? So, Dr. Gerard, let's start from you.
All right. So, studying in Russia in general, I would say it's okay. Yeah, studying in Russia in general, I would say it's such an it was a very big it was an important part of my life, because I had to leave Nigeria. That was where I grew up, and I had a lot of experience and exposure, like to the culture, to the people, right? And then I have to move to Russia, where everything is totally different. So the first thing that you're going to, or that I experienced especially, was like a cultural shock. What do I mean by that? You come into a community where they don't even speak the same native language to you, or the same official language to you. They speak an entirely different language, and you have to try to communicate. So, without communication, sometimes you won't be able to do a lot of things. So the first main thing that we faced when I was in my PATFAC was the fact that I wasn't able to communicate. For instance, when I go to buy things, when I'm looking for the things and that I wasn't able to communicate, right? But of course, that was why we had the language school. So the language school, which is the PATFAC, fixed that problem for me first. Now, the second thing that I had after the language school was when I had to start studying, right? Now, in that atmosphere, when you start studying, you meet your classmates that are Russians. Okay, so for me, I think I'm one of those special candidates I was the only, the only African, the only Black person, and the only student that finished from the language school that was joining a whole new set of Russian speakers, right? So for me, it was very, very difficult at first. Why? To acclimatize myself with the learning structure in Russia here, because it's quite different from what we have in Nigeria, right? And then to get used to my new colleagues in school. So that was very challenging for me as well. But of course, over time, after going through a lot of difficulties, I got used to it. Then the third thing I think I experienced was also I would say racism, right? Okay, but I wouldn't like to call it. I will use the word racism because it's a bit relative to what we think that we have in Nigeria. For example, Nigerians, sometimes we can be tribalistic, right? And then sometimes, in as much as you're trying to be yourself, in a place where you're not a citizen of that particular country, you would still experience some sort of setbacks. Sometimes they will literally tell you to your face, you're not a Russian. right? Or you want to do some stuff and they tell you like, you in particular, you can't do this because you don't have a Russian passport. So for me, I would call that racism, because at that same time I was not given the same right, and sometimes I'm being isolated because I'm not part of the community. But over time I realized that it's normal and it's everywhere. Like there's no place that you get to in life that you meet such things. So again, I got used to this third part of this third point of mine being the fact that, okay, I thought this was racism, but at the end of the day, I realized that, okay, no, this is not what I would call racism. Okay, so at first I thought it was racism, but at the end of the day, that wasn't racism for me. That was less than, I mean, that was just a normal phenomenon we all have to go through in life when we come to a new place. So I think for now, these are the three major things that I faced. I mean, not looking into, I mean, difficult in studies. Why? Because it's always difficult to study anything, whether you're studying engineering or, I don't know, art or theater or music or anything you want to study in life. I actually think it's relatively difficult, right? Now, for me, I was a medical student. Mine was very difficult. It was even extremely difficult, like I said, because I was the only foreign student. I didn't have, like, for example, in your class, maybe you have like 2 or 3 foreigners that are struggling with the language. I was the only one that was struggling with the language, and I was studying medicine. There are a whole lot of new terminologies that I have to meet every day in school in a different language. So even when I translate it to English, I still don't understand what they're saying. So the point was not even that I was not even understanding. The ones that even when I translate it to English, I'm like, what is this one? So for me, it was still. It's like, for me, those ones I think it's normal. Why am I saying it's normal? Because no matter what you're going to study, if you're studying, I don't know, chemistry, anything, right? In that particular field, they have some difficult tasks that when you meet in life, you're going to be like, oh, this is difficult. So it's something that I had to struggle with, and I think at the end of the day, yeah, I got used to it. I wouldn't say I overcame it, but I would say I got used to it. I got used to the system, and I was able to perform well in the system. Thank you very much. So Ifeanyi, I don't know what, I mean, if there are any things I've not really mentioned, I think you can maybe possibly add.
Well, I think you mentioned the main things, or should I say you mentioned almost everything that they need to know. Almost, I think it's a common difficulty that each and every one of us experienced. But we also had different approaches to how we solved the problem. Of course, your own approach was almost the same thing that any other reasonable person would have done. But if I'm supposed to add something, at least for the sake of adding something, I would say, coming here, or should I say, sorry, not coming here because I'm not in Russia anymore. So coming to Russia, at first it imbibes in you the fact that now, not that you live like you, okay, I mean, you still have a family, but it imbibes in you this fact that, okay, now I'm alone. Now I have to grab the bull by the horn. I have to deal with a lot of things on my own without aid from parents or from cousins or relatives. So you'd have to acknowledge the fact that you're having a lot of responsibilities already on your shoulders. And one thing about learning a language is that at first it discourages you because, oh God, I don't know. The Russian language is not our language, okay? And it can never be our language, whether we like it or not. We can only try, okay? There is no guarantee that you can be able to know it 100%. Like, we all don't even know English language 100%. Not to talk of knowing the Russian language 100%. So personally, what did I do when I was experiencing such difficulties? One thing about Russia is that each teacher, especially during part 5 is like the preparatory faculty where they teach the language before you guys get shipped to your main universities. One thing I noticed about Russians, you'd have to study the people, especially your teachers. Try to be on their good side almost every time. Every teacher is having his or her own strategy, his or her own policy that you'd have to keep up to. Some teachers, they like punctuality. Some teachers, they like when you talk in class, when you try to be interactive in class, regardless of the fact that you are not even speaking the Russian language well. They just want you to be active. So personally, I got active, okay? Like, I studied my teachers and I got active. I involved myself in many extracurricular activities. I didn't just limit myself to classrooms and lessons. I tried to socialize. Okay, it wasn't easy because racism. Yeah, you would experience racism by the time you want to step out of your box at first, but it only gets worse if you decide to stop socializing. Because when you stop socializing, you are not getting better with the language, and you're not even understanding them. Okay, so me, I tried to socialize. I started doing stuff for my school, like singing. Not that I was so good at singing, but I was just like singing just to give myself more opportunities to meet more Russians. Because then the language school, you are just basically surrounded with only international students that are there to learn the language with you. So what can you possibly learn from your fellow international students that cannot even speak the Russian language? See, so I had to outsource. Let me just call it outsourcing. I had to outsource. I had to socialize. I went for like concerts. I met Russian people, and like it helped me when it comes to learning when it came to learning the language. Okay, and one thing about language is that when learning a language, it's not something that you learn only in class. Okay, language is something that we learn subconsciously. So most times you're just talking with someone, you're just interacting with someone, and in the Russian language, you're just speaking the language one after the other, and the person is talking to you guys are just interacting, but at that point in time, you are learning some things, but you don't know. Like your subconscious, your brain is just like picking up some vital things that you don't know you're already learning. So maybe one day you are talking and then you just drop one line and you're like, where did I even learn this word from? So just like babies, whenever it comes to language, we learn it subconsciously. So in addition to what Dr. Gerald already said, what I'd have to add is get active. Okay, get active whenever you guys get over here. Don't just limit yourself to classroom, from classroom to your hostel, from your hostel back to classroom, from classroom to church, from church to, try to broaden your horizon. That's what I have to say. And also try to be very close to your teachers by knowing their do's and don'ts. By the time you are closer to them, believe me, they will do anything within their capability to make sure that you understand whatever they teach. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for that. There's a question here from somebody.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Someone is asking
Yes,
that
yes.
right now, what is the rate of racism in Russia right now to foreign students? What is the rate of racism in Russia right now?
Yeah, okay. So I would say that, like I said, when I first came to Russia, it's very easy and it's very obvious for us to say, okay, this person is a racist to you, right? Because you think, oh, this is what we call racism. But sincerely speaking, from my experience, I would say that we have more racism currently in Nigeria as compared to what we have in Russia.
Wow.
So if you can answer the rate of racism in Nigeria, I think you'll be able to answer the rate of racism in Russia. Now, what am I trying to say? When I first came to Russia and with everything, the problem was that I was not able to understand the system. So I felt that they were being racist to me. Why? Because I didn't understand the system. I didn't involve myself in a whole lot of activities, and I didn't involve myself in general with the community, like Ifeanyi just said. Okay, so personally, I could tell you all the things I did. I did a whole lot of things in Russia. Okay, I did a whole lot of things, and that was when I was able to understand that I mean, the racism in Nigeria is more. Why am I saying that? Because I realized that I was able to achieve more, and I had opportunities to achieve more things here than in Nigeria. Okay, so the first thing I would say, let me just say very few things that I personally did, and maybe you can as well have such opportunities in your city. I was in Moscow, so I was part of my students' sports club. Why? Because maybe some of us, they were like athletes and footballers and all, right? So I know like a lot of scholarship students that when they were in Russia, they were doing some sporting activities for their maybe sometimes their city or their school, and they were being paid for that. And then from there, they became a very huge personality that when they mention their name, is like, oh, that boy Bratan on Tsunami. Right? What am I trying to say? When the person, or like me, I'm a sprinter. I run like 60-meter races, 100-meter races, and all for my school, and I was representing them in international competitions, and they were paying me for that. So like for instance, when I come, for example, now even to the department and all, they're like, oh, this boy, we know him because I involved myself in the school. After that, I went for a lot of I represented my school in lots of like academic competitions, like Olympiads and all those things, right? I won awards in some of them. From there, I represented my school in a world festival, and from there, I got a presidential award from Putin himself. I mean, I've just that alone. After that, when I came back, it's like all doors were open and opportunities were flowing. Like they were just coming to me like it was like water. Do you understand? So why am I saying this now? Now think of it this way: that I'm a foreigner, all the way from Nigeria. Even from my skin color, it's obvious that I'm a foreigner, right? But I was able to get access to all these opportunities. It means that if these people were racist, they won't be able to give me this opportunity, right? Because at every one time and the other, they'll be like, oh no, this person is not our person. So even when I'm telling you, even when I got those awards, I was like, wow, is it possible? The very first time they called me to collect my award from the Kremlin, I was like, it is not me. I told them that it's a mistake. They now asked me, they called my full name, and they called I'm like, they called your full name. Are you not the person? I'm saying, I'm the person. They said, yeah, this is why we're giving this award. Why am I saying this? I don't know how many of you will be able to even get an award from your state. Let's start from the Nigeria, like for me, from a state or on a local government level or on a federal level. But this is a country level. A foreigner was able to get an award from the president of a country on a federal level. What does that mean? It means that when you come to racism, Russia, we had those mysteries and stories of the former Soviet Union, right? When they are very harsh to people. So that was where the history of Russia being racist came from. But in today's modern Russian Federation, which is a totally different country, opportunities are open for you to access. The only difference or the only problems that we face as foreigners is that we already have this mindset that, oh, these people are being racist, like I did at first, right? I had that mindset. But with time, I was able to overcome it. Why? Because I exposed myself to my community. There were a lot of things I as well did. I taught them free English language in school. Like we had the section of English club where we teach English. So like, for instance, one of us, we work as English teachers in Russia. Why not? You can just say, you know what, let's organize an English-speaking club, right, for your foreigners, for the friends. You go to the school, you meet them, you tell them, okay, I want to organize an English teaching club or speaking club for them. Why not? They will give you such opportunities. And it was from there that doors began to open for me. I'm telling you, like when I say doors open for me, it was opened very well. There was almost no office that I didn't have access to when it comes to me solving my problems from school. So it moved from a place of being me seeing them as racist to a place of me being very comfortable that they treated me as if I was as if I was a Russian citizen. So whenever or however, if you are coming to Russia, the first thing you have to understand is that you need to adapt to the system. You need to understand the system. You need to understand what each and every student, teacher needs from you as a student. That is the first thing. You need to accept your community. You need to be part of your community. You're not just going to school, you come back, you write your assignments, you sleep. No. If you are already in Russia, there are lots of opportunities. You need to just approach those opportunities from different places and take note of it. So like I said, in some it's everywhere in Russia. Like for instance, we have a normal stipend that they pay us, right? But every school has that other thing that they call increasing your stipends. That one is one of it. So that means that every foreigner has that. As long as you're a scholarship student, you have the opportunity to access that gate. And how can you access that gate? Maybe you have to be very active in the dancing club, in the sports club, in the academic session, in the research session. I was even on Moscow government scholarship. At some point, I was on Moscow government scholarship because like I said, when you are there's this they call it Socialite stipendium. So it's when you are doing very well for the school, sometimes they even give you to the Moscow state government to take care of it. Then I came fourth position for 2 years in the whole of Moscow for the competition, the rating competition. So that was how I was able to get into that competition, get into that scholarship. So apart from that, there was even another one. There's a presidential quota scholarship for those that do research. That one, if you do very well, again, they put you so there are a lot of these things are there. How was I able to find these things? I just had to, go to the school internet, ask questions. Okay, I'm doing this. Is there any scholarship that I can apply for with this? And they'll tell you, okay, yeah, they suggest things to you. Now, I'm in Moscow, right? So I'm giving you experience from what I got from Moscow. It might not be like that in different cities. It might be different. It might be in a very certain way. I know of students that there was Ali from Voronezh. Then Ali used to come to run with us here in Moscow. Ali was known all over Voronezh. Ali was number one in Voronezh. At the school, they fly him to Moscow to run. Don't worry. They flew me to Petersburg and all. I knew Ali. There are a lot of other. There is this other guy too, that Adebayo, that finished from Kazan. Adebayo was the personal translator to the wife of the mayor of Kazan. Right now, he's a worldwide entrepreneur. He's a worldwide entrepreneur. He was once a former federal scholarship student, but I'm telling you how they got to different places. Why? Because they took time to invest in their community. So if you're already thinking of coming to Russia, one thing you have to do is you have to accept what you have right now. This is what God has given you right now. This is what you have right now in your hands. You don't have America. You don't have in Germany. For example, for Ifani, right? When he was coming to Russia, the first thing again was that for him, at the same time, you are thinking of, okay, you know what? You want to go to America, right? Or we want to enter any country you can think of. But you have to first do well with the little that you've been given to. I don't know if you've heard this phrase that to whom much is given, much more is expected. So when you do very well with the little you've been given, it does not matter. In that your little community, when you do so well with it, right, you'll be able to achieve greater heights and get to wherever you want to get to. So for us, there was nothing different. I'm telling you, I just came like a normal scholarship student, no extra preparation, nothing. When I came to Russia, I couldn't even say privyet. Me personally, I couldn't say privyet. Some people, before they even come, they didn't know how to write. Me, I didn't know anything. I started from zero. Me, I was even smiling when the very first time I came to class, and they're telling me, Daska. I was like, what is Daska? She was just talking up and down. Me, I'm like, I was just laughing at myself. But I will tell you one thing I told myself at that moment, that, you know what, Gerald, you're here. You're already here. No going back. I was already in medical school in Nigeria before I left to Russia. That means if I have to even go back, I've lost like 3 more years, right? So it's like I am here already. So I have to make good use of this opportunity that I've been given. And that was the way I was able to, attack every situation. There were a lot of setbacks and all, yeah, but the first thing is for you to have the right mindset. It is very important. When you have the right mindset to do whatever you want to do, it doesn't. If you want to get to, I don't even know, to Antarctica or to the end of the world today, and you have the right mindset, you'll be able to achieve it. So, for example, you're seeing Ifeanyi in Germany today. Why? Because he had to start with the right mindset. And right now, of course, he started from being a normal scholarship student like you, be a scholar. But right now, he's in Germany. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow now you become the mayor of I don't know, he's sitting in Germany. You people be like, oh yeah, that was it. It's possible. Yeah, but look at where he started from, just like you guys. We just started the same way and all. So yeah, there is nothing different about maybe me or you. We all have the same. We've been given the same platform, but the difference is how well you utilize those opportunities. So the thing I'm gonna say, please, if you don't remember anything, just remember this thing. Grab any opportunity. Grab your opportunities, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gerald, for that. We so much appreciate. So, Engineer Ifeanyi, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I think it's actually very wonderful that Dr. Gerald gets to speak first every time, because I think I'm even learning more than I already know. So actually, I don't have anything to add to that in general terms, but just like you said, it's all about your mindset. You limit in Russia when it comes to racism. Of course, there are all these minor discriminations you would experience, but by the time you get to differentiate the important discriminations from the minor discriminations, then you would see that, what we call racism here in Russia is basically the minor discriminations. Nobody, or should I say, no reasonable Russian will just come and start discriminating you. It's Russia, for me, it's a country where if you come into this country and limit your mindset, automatically you are limiting your opportunities. It's like a give and take country, okay? They want to see what you have to offer apart from academics, okay? That's why I told you guys that, okay, the main reason why we are coming to study under scholarship is for us to go to school, right, and maybe make a first class or anything. But look, for me personally, I would advise, yes, I'm having the first class. Dr. Gerald is the best in his school. Yes, we all know all these stuff. But I would tell you guys the truth that come to Russia, but do not limit yourself to first class. Don't be like, oh, if it's first class, it's then there's no point. No, there are other things better than first class, which are the opportunities, which is the networking, the contact that you're making, the relationship that we are building with much more important people that will help you. All right. So you limiting your mindset here in Russia is the same as limiting your opportunities. Just like Dr. Gerald said, if you should go all out for these people, if you should go all out for your school, maybe you are singing for them or you're playing football for them, or maybe you are just doing one or two for them. Trust me, when it gets to you, they will go all out for you. That's why they're better than Nigeria for me. For me, I think that we experience racism more in Nigeria more than we experience here amongst ourselves in Russia. So for them, all they need is for you to show them that you are able to be an asset to them and not a liability to them. And they will treat you like their own. They will even treat you better than they treat their own because they appreciate hard work. It's a country that appreciates hard work. They really, really do appreciate hard work. So if you should go all out for them, not just studying and going back home and coming back the next day and studying and going back home, then all you can ever achieve is getting a first class, entering the next flight back to Nigeria, and then you join the long queue of unemployed students. That's why you see that first class is actually rubbish. It's just the title. Because in Nigeria, we all know that there's very little that even a first class certificate can do for you. There's very little that it can do for you. So here you're having the opportunity to build yourself. You're having the opportunity to create your own ways. You're having the opportunity to create your path. You know, there's a saying that do not go where the path may lead, but instead create your own path and then let other people follow. So then you're having the opportunities. So try to go all out. Try to be an extra student. In the poster, they said how to stand out, not how to be a good student. So now, like, all of us are under scholarship. You guys are under scholarships. That automatically means that we're all good. Even if you got a scholarship by connection or not connection, we are all good, okay? But then how do you stand out from the crowd? That's the question here. So standing out from the crowd is for you to do that thing that others are not doing today in order to have tomorrow what others are not going to have, all right? So by saying so, what I mean is that you should get more involved. And trust me, whenever you get more involved, that's when you would have people telling you, oh boy, in a book you come study, or no be boy you come play, or oh boy, in a book you come study, or no be sing you come sing, exactly. Oh boy, in a book you come study, or no be air and you come run. You see, so you would hear all these people that will tell you, guy, why you came here to study? The scholarship is for you to come and study, not for you to be running errands for the day. The scholarship is for you to come and study, not for you to be going for conference meetings or going for roundtable meetings with the dean and your teachers. You would hear stuff like that. And some people actually do give in to such advices. That's where you see, look, I've seen a lot of people that came to Russia. Okay, they're having wonderful voices. They could sing for their school. They can run very well. They could run and represent their school. They could play ball very well. They can play and represent their school. But because of words like, oh, boy, na this, oh, boy, na that, let's just focus on our scholarship before they collect our scholarship. Oh, boy, na first class or nothing. That's where the limitation starts. I've seen people that gave into it, and then all they achieved at the very end is getting their first class and going home with their first class. That's all they achieved. But by the time you get to ignore stuff like that, by the time you get to ignore limiting messages like that, you get to see the bigger picture there. All right. So personally speaking, when I went into my school, okay, already I started from part 5. When I was in the language university, I got myself involved. I don't have a wonderful voice, but I'll just go and grab the microphone and tell them, okay, let's have stuff like African Day. I would go and participate in African Day, maybe dance or sing. And I could also play ball, so I played for them. So I was already creating that relationship All right, because one thing you'd have to have you need to have as a student is foresight. Not don't just think about your today and tomorrow. Think about years to come. Okay, have foresight. I'm not saying you should overthink yourself, but just have that foresight. Have a target. Have something that you're willing to achieve. Right. So me, I would go and involve myself with schools. So with schools and also other extracurricular activities. So this stuff it drew the attention of the important people, the people that matter. This like your dean, your teachers. That even like okay, at the end of every month, as a student in Russia, you are being paid a certain amount of money. Let's say 1,600. But then me, even when I was in the language university, because of that, because of me getting involved, I was being paid. I was being paid extra. I was being paid like twice as much as they paid the others. All right. And then when I finished from the language school, just to show you how much Russia, or should I say, how much Russia appreciates hard work. When I finished from the language school, it was time for me. It was time for me to move on to my main university. My school, the language school, wrote a recommendation letter for me and forwarded it to my main school that they should give me the opportunity to sing for them or to play ball for them, that I'm good at it. You see, that's the way they open doors. And then when I went into my main school, I didn't have to come and introduce myself already. They already knew me. They were already expecting me. And I followed the same trail, right? And then now here comes the most important part. I followed the same track. I was at their best side. I was not just a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thank God it's Friday student. No, I was there. I was everywhere. If they needed me for conferences, I would attend conferences, even if I don't know what they are saying. Or sometimes they'll speak the Russian language and it's too heavy. I'll just sit there and I'm nodding. Yes, yes, okay, no problem. So I was just there. I was just showing my face, showing interest. Okay, that I'm interested in the prosperity of the university. Okay, this is what I can offer. I can sing, I can play football, I can dance, stuff like that. Even if I'm not good at it, at least I'm willing to try. They appreciate stuff like that very well. So now, how did all this stuff pay off? After my third year, I already knew that okay, truth be told, me after graduating from Russia, whether I got first class or no class, me, I'm not going back to Nigeria yet. Let me not say I'm canceling Nigeria. I'm not going back to Nigeria yet. Okay, I have to do my masters in a very better place. I have to at least build myself before coming back to Nigeria, right? And I knew these are not stuff I could do on my own, right? So after my third year, that was where I had to, that was when I had to start planning my future. And I kid you not, my university, they went all out for me. They wrote series of recommendation letters for me. They they recommended me to various schools. Like they made everything easier for me. Okay. And look at the result today. Even before I graduated, I already got admission in various schools, and I already knew the university I was going to before I even graduated. So this is how Russia would go all out for you if you should go all out for them. And trust me, it's not going to be easy. Trying to find a balance because you'd have to balance it with your education. You would have to balance it with a lot of stuffs. Balancing your extracurricular activities with your education. It's not easy, but with time you'll get to know more about it. All right, so let me just stop here for now for another question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the brief information you've given to us. It's very helpful. Like I'm so learning a lot from this. So as we continue, someone just joined the meeting. He's supposed to anchor this seminar, and the person is Samuel. He's a student in Rostov, and is the should I call it CEO of Freeze Control. Most of you should know Freeze Control. It's an academic YouTube platform where it talks about stuff that will help you as a student. So Samuel, you're welcome. I hand over to you as he continues the anchoring of this event.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very sorry for coming late. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
I had to go for a program, so I just finished and I quickly had to join. And thank you to CEO of Students Place for the opportunity. So first, I would like to thank our students or our senior staff made time to actually come and talk to us and to enlighten us on some things. So quickly, we're going to be moving to the next question. And I think someone wrote in the chat about the scholarship. So I would like seniors to talk about how they actually got the scholarship and the processes and all, so that people can actually understand. I don't know who is going to go for that. I think, am I supposed to call the person that
You can just.
Emmanuel, how do you get the scholarship?
Yeah, I think Dr. Gerald should start. No
They're
problem.
asking how you got scholarship. You're asking.
No, is it the FSB scholarship?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, FSB
Is it the
scholarship.
FSB scholarship or like
Yeah.
the federal FBA bilateral education agreement scholarship, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
all right.
we have most of those here are those who are applying for the scholarship. So like they need to know.
But they just applied.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
they are not on scholarship yet.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome! I honestly didn't know that. So okay, thank you very much. So the bilateral education agreement scholarship is a federal government scholarship that is between between different countries. Okay, so we have under the Ministry of Education, we have 16 more units, and one of the units in these 16 units we have in the Ministry of Education is the bilateral education agreement unit, which takes care of this scholarship now. Now, these scholarships are like agreements that two countries have, that Nigeria sends some of their citizens to a particular country to learn the language and then study in the language, right? And then come back to Nigeria. And then in return, the Russian government or the Hungarian government or any other government, I don't know what they get in return. They have a lot of things that they get in return under this agreement. Okay, so there's a signed agreement that they have between countries. We have a lot of countries. Serbia, I don't remember because it's been the last time I applied was 8 years ago, but it's okay. We have like Serbia, Greece, China, Hungary, Japan, Russia, and each country has like a number of slots that they give to the Nigerian government, right? So I think the country with the highest slot is Russia. Before, we usually have around 60 to 70 slots, but I heard that with the help of the former, I'll call him the former ambassador, because right now he's no longer here. The former ambassador, they were able to increase that slot to like 100 and 110 plus, depending on how much the Nigerian government are willing to, comfortably accept. Okay, so how did I get this scholarship? Why am I giving the general view so we would understand in particular? The other scholarships that are there, they have the ECOWAS scholarship, they have the United Nations scholarship, they have other scholarships under the B. They have even scholarships that are within universities in Nigeria. In Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, in different universities, they have some people under the federal government scholarship that they pay money to. Okay, but this particular one is called the Bilateral Education Agreement Scholarship, BEA. How did I get the scholarship? Sincerely speaking, mine personally, now listen to this. There are a lot of stories about how to get a scholarship and how not to get a scholarship, but I'll tell you that mine was strictly on merit, okay? So we applied in 2013. Yeah, I think I did the application in 2012 and all, but we applied like in 2013. So over the years, of course, a lot of things have changed and we have different procedures and all. But the first and foremost, and the thing I know that till now it still stands, is that the review or the selection process goes through some stages. It means that at every stage there are some difficulties or there are some people that might have to drop in one point or the other. But for you, what I think that we should always look at is this: the scholarship has a 100-point score. Okay, it's like 100 points. The 5 core subjects that we have in our WAEC result, for instance, if you're in science, physics, chemistry, maths, English, and biology, right? These are the 5 main science classes that we have, right? I don't know if you see something right now in Nigeria.
Right, it is.
Yeah. So these 5 main subjects accounts for 60 points. 60. It means that A1 is 12 points, B2 is 10 points, B3 8 points, C4 it reduces, right? You understand what I'm saying? So each subject has like 12 points, and then we have the computer test. Before it was written, but right now it's computer based and all, accounts for 40 points. Okay, 60 from your WAEC, 40 from your the assessment, the first assessment that you have, that is between the Nigerian, when the Nigerian government is trying to select those that they will forward to these countries, right? Now, when you are able to clear this, like for instance, if you have a very good WAEC, outstanding WAEC. I mean, of course, I had an outstanding WAEC, and maybe probably not everyone had an outstanding WAEC, right? But if you want to go, for example, for something like medicine, which is highly competitive, and then the slots are like very few, and again, they also select from regions as well, of course, right? If you have a very good an outstanding WAEC, you stand a chance to at least apply and know that okay, you have a chance, right? Now there is the interview, which I said, which is the first interview process that it accounts for 40 points. How well you sat for that exam again accounts to your total score, which is what by right I think that the federal scholarship should look into to be able to select students. Okay, so for instance, in every from what I understand, I don't know if it's still the same thing right now. They select at least 2 to 3 students from each state. Sorry, that I'm using city because I mean Russia we don't have state like Anambra. That was how it's supposed to be by right, and then they shortlist up to like 4 candidates from each city that have chosen a particular country, right, to the country, and then when it gets to the country, they do their own selection, and then that is why we have the second interview, right? So after the first step, you go through the second interview. After the second interview, which now this second interview, what does it involve? It involves oral interview with a board of Nigerian, officials, right? And then some officials from the embassy. At that level, majority of the scholarship now boils down to the number of slots that has been allocated to Nigeria as at that point. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. For example, let's say Nigeria selects 50 medical students, right? 50. Okay, let's say like I don't know if you understand the gist right now. Let's say Nigeria selects 4 students from each city, right? And out of these 4 students, like we have 200 students, they choose Russia. 36 times 4, okay? You get the number. They choose Russia. You understand? Now they shortlist all those names to Russia, right? Now, remember, like I said, it's between these 2 countries. Now, the Russian government, they have a particular number of slots that they are willing to give the Nigerian government for a particular course or for some courses. Okay? So in our case, it was 12. 12. It means that for the whole of Nigeria, for the whole of the number of, maybe, let's say, for example, out of the federal scholarship board shortlisted 20 or people, right, for medicine. But the Russian government, they have only 12 slots to offer Nigeria. Now, that is why I say the process becomes very, very difficult. So the 2 things I'm going to tell you is that you have to put a whole lot of hard work in it. And then you have to pray to your God that you go through the whole process successively. Why? People say, oh, sometimes there are a lot of bureaucracy, there are lots of, Mago. I personally don't know about that. Why? Because I don't know anyone in the federal scholarship, but up until today, I don't know anybody. Even like I said, even in Russia, I don't know anyone. But my God always speaks for me, and then the little hard work I put always paves way for me, right? So now that is where it becomes very difficult because out of these 20 something, right? They are no longer looking at, for example, your WAEC or your this or that. They're not looking at possibly the second interview, how you communicate with them. And at that point, they're not trying to check, your of course, are going to, these are, like I said, it's a whole lot of, it's a process, right? It's a thorough assessment. So they have to look into, okay, what were you doing? Did you participate in Olympiads? I know people that got the scholarships because they participated in Olympiads. And those guys are like, they are like, I'll call them like first-class citizens when it comes to mathematics in Nigeria. They are like the best. They represented Nigeria in international competitions. Okay, so when they are applying for the FBA scholarship and they put just, once you see their name and they put maths, of course you're giving them the maths. Why? Because those guys represented Nigeria on a federal level. Do you understand? So I know people that are like that they are in the scholarship as well. I know people that, different ways and all right. But in general, the Russian government will select, or the particular government, or the Hungarian government will select. For instance, for Hungary, you, as you are submitting to Nigeria, you are at the same time doing the Hungarian application. I don't know if some of us are applying to Hungary. So you have to do, after the Nigerian application, you have to do the Hungarian application. Why? Because at the end of the day, the selection process boils down to the country and boils down to the number of slots that are willing to offer Nigeria for that particular course. Okay, so let me just summarize everything. I think now we understand how really the whole scholarship, this particular one works, right? But one thing I'll tell you is that you have to put a whole lot of work in your WAEC result. Your WAEC result, it's an exam that you write once and for all. You don't write it 2 times or 3 times, and it's the same thing like your BSc certificate. You don't get your BSc certificate twice, right? You just get it once. So you have to put in a whole lot of work to make sure that when you are writing your WAEC, you do so well in your WAEC, so that when you're applying for this scholarship, you won't be scared. Okay, am I going to get this or am I not going to get this? Number 2, when you are applying for this scholarship, you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic. Why am I saying that? Sometimes you might want to study medicine. You might want to study medicine, or you might want to study a very big course or any course as big as it might be, right? But then you can see that, okay, you have like C's in your WAEC result, and again, like I said, you're competing with a whole lot of people. Like for me personally, when we apply, we are like 200 and something from my state. I'm from Anambra State. We had up to like more than 200 people. Imagine 200 people applying for 2 slots. Seriously. So do you understand? It's like, so imagine, and then you are there, you're choosing medicine for your grade, right? So at the same time, you have to be realistic in the sense that when you look at your score, you try to place yourself in the examiner's situation. That, like I remember, like I told you, like A1 is 12 points, right? B2, 10. So when you look at it and you say, okay, you're not matching up with a very good score, and then you think about, okay, even if they're going to choose, they might not choose you. You might decide to go for a very simpler course, right? Because at the same time, like I said, remember the second process here now goes through the Russian government. Now, what am I trying to say? The Russian government might have 10 slots for medicine, but they might have 3 slots for nursing, right? Or 5 more slots for pharmacy. The competition in medicine might be very high. But maybe pharmacy, maybe it's like 2 people that choose pharmacy, and you never can tell. You just choose your own pharmacy quietly, gingerly. So you have less competitions, right? Now there are even some people that in some different states there is no competition at all. Like for some people in some states, people that are even begging them to come and write the interview, to come for the interview. Why? Because they're trying to just select people to make it look like as if it's equal and all. So like for example, some of all these some states, like they have like maybe 10 people applying for the scholarship, or 20 or 30. So it's less competitive there. You understand what I'm saying? But if you know your state, for example, maybe, I don't know, maybe in Ibadan, you are like 300 and something, and you are applying for, you yourself, you have to be very realistic, because if you really want to get this, you are at the same time, you are praying about it. You are trying to put yourself in the best position so that you don't have to struggle much. So that is what I was saying. So that's also one of the ways I was okay, that I was able to get a scholarship. It doesn't work every time, but I'm just trying to be more realistic. Why? Because when they start going through let's say they become, when they start going through this whole assessment, these are the things that these are the things that they used to kick up from the very first stage. So you can just say, you know what, this one B2, 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 this one A1, why are we picking this one? This one B2, does not know anything, they'll drop it. At that same point, you're not there to defend yourself, it's just your WAEC result and your score from your interview, the first assessment that they do, okay? So that was how I was able to get a scholarship. I went through the first process, and for us, as at then, we don't go through the second process, honestly. The second process started in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. In 2014, I don't think they went through the second process. And in 2018, the process changed. In 2018, it became very serious. You have to apply. When you apply in Nigeria, you have to apply straight again, even to Russia. You have to come for we didn't have the second interview, but right now there's a second interview, right? Where you go and they have a panel of people judging you. They're looking at how well you speak. They're looking at how well you can be able to assess situations and all. So they're not testing your intelligence. They're checking your ability to be able to, communicate with people, to be able to adapt to certain structures. What do you even know? What idea do you have about Russia? They can ask, who is the president of Russia? Okay, you want to go to Russia. What have you heard about Russia? Where is the capital of Russia? Then they can even deviate a little bit to test your current affairs. Who is the former vice president, or who was the former Senate president or something? Or what do you want to study? You say you want to study medicine. Why do you want to study medicine? Where do you want to fly? Just very simple questions, right? But these questions in one way also test your ability to be able to present what you really want. Again, so at the same time, you are preparing for all these stages, and at the end, when you pass through the first stage, you pass through the second stage, and you pass through the last stage. At the end of the day, they have like maybe 80 something people. Yeah, over the years again, the numbers have been increasing. Like for us, we are 64 in 2013, 2014, they were like 60. 2015, they increased to 70 something. Last year, the number of students that came were 83, if I'm not mistaken. Last 2 years, they were 83 or 93, if I'm not mistaken. Last 2 years, they were like also like the number has been increasing. Like for Russia, everything I'm saying right now actually is for Russia because I'm in Russia. For other cities, other places, I don't have enough information, right? But they also increased. Even the Hungarian slots ahead, it has increased for this year because the Nigerian government signed a new contract with the Hungarian government. So the number of slots for those going under the BA Hungarian scholarship has increased. And Hungary is a very good country. I will tell you why I will tell you why it's very good is because for right now under the BA scholarship, they are the highest paid. Apart from the Nigerian stipends, the money that the federal government gives us monthly, they are the highest paid scholars. It means that the Hungarian government pays them more than any other country. Yeah, so that is also another country that you might wish to consider. But above all, I would say that the process, it's for me personally, like I said, personally, and everything I'm saying right now is from my personal opinion, is genuine because I didn't know anyone. I just had to pray to God. I just had to believe that God is going to do it for me. And I mean, prayed, did my part. My wife was very good, actually. My wife was very, very good, of course. Yeah. So, and yeah, that was how I got the scholarship. I mean, I didn't know anyone from even up until now. I don't say, okay, well, of course, now maybe probably I have like one or two people that I can call, probably from my experience, from serving in the community, and all. Yeah, but before then, of course, I didn't know anyone. I just met them for the very first time when I went to Abuja, and I don't even live in Abuja, so there are a lot of things I could say that I never had opportunities for. Yeah, so that was it. That's it. Or that's how you can apply for it. I think currently right now the applications for the next for this year is already it's ongoing already. People are applying. So like the same thing, like I said, you have to be very realistic. And apart from the Russian BA scholarship, there are lots of other scholarships that Nigerians need to discover. Okay. One of the major problems we have in Nigeria, and I'm going to be very honest with you, is internet. Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? It's a problem because from my experience staying here in Russia, I'm able to access a lot of information just by sitting on my laptop. Okay, just by sitting on my laptop. And we have our friend Google. I'll just ask Google, what is this? Just type anything you want to type in. But for when I was in Nigeria, like I said, the limitation that we had then was just internet. But I'm just going to tell you one thing. If there is something that you ever want to do, I don't want you to always see these things as setbacks. Why? Because each and every one of us had the same setback while applying at something. So you can look out for other scholarships. There are a lot of other scholarships. Think about it. Look into other countries you might want to go to, Canada, America, all those things. Look for other scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships, okay? And not just this BA, right? Why am I saying this? Because, BA is not the only scholarship. When I graduated, when I graduated last year, I knew that there were a lot of other scholarships. I applied to a lot of them. I got admissions to a lot of them as well, and it's not even BA. Okay, so there are lots of, like I said, I got admission in a lot. America, any country you mentioned, there's a scholarship there. So if you, for instance, you want to go to Thailand, look for scholarships that are applicable for those in Thailand. Look for the things that they need you to achieve. Look for how well you can achieve them, and then you apply for it. That's all. So yeah, just try to not just focus on BA. Why am I saying that? Because BA is not the only scholarship. Think about other scholarships. Apply. You never can tell where the breakthrough will come from. Yeah, so that was how I was able to get mine. So maybe Fine Zone was different. That was why I asked him, how did you get yours? Because
thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much again, Dr. Gerald. I think I'm really with him on every single thing he said, because I had a personal story of us. We were like, just like what he said, there's actually quota for every state. So in my state, in Osun State, when we were applying for medicine, we were a lot that actually applied, and about 4 of us got to the interview stage. Yeah, in our set, we already had to go for interview, and I think the set before us too, they did interview. So we went to the interview, and there were a panel of judges. Like there was a man who is, I think, a doctor, and there were some Russians, about 3 Russians that were there also. They were also asking questions, and they understood English. So the questions are actually in English, not in Russian. And what shocked me was that we were all told that when you get to the interview stage, you've probably 60 or 70% already got the scholarship. So we were already probably relaxing. And one thing I learned was that when I was going in, my friends were talking about some Russian words. So I learned spasiba from my friends before I entered. So after I finished answering, and I answered very well, I answered every single of their questions. And as I was leaving, I was like, spasiba. I don't think I even pronounced it well. I don't think I pronounced it. And all of them were shouting, they were laughing. He's even already learning the Russian language. So, and one other thing was that my friend that she even had a higher YX score than I had, but she did eventually get a scholarship, even though she got to the interview stage. So at that interview stage, it's not really sure that you're still going to get it. It gets a little bit difficult, and the Russian government tries to streamline the amount of people they bring. So the main point is trying to drive out is that if you're applying for the scholarship, you have to be realistic, and you also have to, how do I put it now? You have to put in your best. Every single thing you can put in, you have to put it in. So quickly, I think we're going to move to the next question. I've seen a lot of questions for Dr. Gerald already in the chat, but I think I want to ask this quick question. There's a question that says, there was no space in a place to choose place for exam. Would there be an exam this year? What do you think? Do you have an idea of if there's going to be an exam this year? Probably because of this pandemic, COVID-19. I don't know. Even though in our sets we didn't have a place to choose exam. They only wrote us after we applied. They wrote us on SMS that we should come to this particular place for exam. And the set after me, they had something posted or something that you should go to this particular city. They had, I don't know, a table or something. I was even shocked. But this year they didn't have any place to choose something like that. Do you think there will be the first stage of exam this year?
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. Honestly, okay. Let's start with this. I'm not a I'm not a worker in BL. I don't have any FSB. Sorry. Yeah, but I'm just gonna share a little bit of what I know, and I can try to get that information. But I'm not promising. But I'm not a worker. So the thing is that for this year, the main problem, of course, we all know we are having in the whole world everywhere is COVID pandemic. We all know that, right? So things are not really, again, how they are supposed to be. Now, when we were applying for the scholarship, we used to have a particular, like every you choose a state of every geopolitical. We have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Each of these geopolitical zones have a state where everyone comes to write the written exam there. I think from 3 years ago, they started doing the computer-based, 2017, if I'm not mistaken. They started doing computer-based, and it was still the same thing. It was computer-based, but again, the same geopolitical zone, you go to a particular place to write it. Last year, it changed again. Now, you don't have to go to a particular zone. You just have to go to a computer-based accredited center to write. It means that, for example, if you are Igbo, and you are from Anambra and you live in Jos, you can actually just go to the closest center near you just to write the exams, right? Now, for this year, the main problem, not just with now, I mean, of course, you can see that they're already making plans for those that are coming next year. But even the ones that are meant to come this year, they're not yet here. Why? Pandemic. So are they going to have the exams this year? Definitely it's not this year, right? It's next year. The exam is usually January, February, like I think February, first week of February, right? Now, are they going to have the exam first week of February? Honestly, I also don't know what's going to happen in January, if things are going to get worse or better, okay? So, but definitely there's going to be an exam as at now. So now when we get to February or March, if we have problems with organizing exams, or if they have problems with organizing exams, they might cancel it, okay? But usually, or by right, there's supposed to be an exam. So the best thing is just to prepare for the exam. Even if you thought you're not going to prepare for the exam, like even for this year, the same thing. Because of the pandemic, they were able to have the second interview, which now made it worse. Why? Because they now did the second one based on, like I said, the number of quotas the country had, the number of people in Nigeria are bringing, the student information, how best you're able to react to their mails, and they use a lot of funny things, but unlike last year and last year's. But the problem was because of pandemic. Why? Because for this year, they planned to do the interview in March. Pandemic started, they moved it to June. They waited for the government to see they're going to loosen down July, September. And like I said, here in Russia, whether pandemic or not, things are moving. But in Nigeria, when pandemic comes, everything stops. So that's the difference between these countries and our. Like, for example, Hungarian government, they are ready to, I don't know if they've led for this year, but the Hungarian government, there is pandemic, but they are willing to accept the scholars into Hungary. Why? Because they are under the government, that are government properties. Do you understand? So different countries have different approaches to it, and just prepare for the exam. Why? Because there's definitely going to be an exam. But I mean, who knows? Maybe by next year, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what COVID will present. Yeah. So that's all I can say.
Much. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I think what we have to take off from that is that either ways, you just have to prepare for the exam, and please listen to, or make sure you are informed, make sure you're on point. All the groups, make sure you're reading the messages. If there's any important information, please make sure you know, because there were some situations whereby some people didn't even know the exam date was this. Probably they didn't get the message and all of that. So please make sure you are informed and make sure you prepare for the exam either ways, whether you're writing or not. So we move to the next question. I think this question will go to our, is it engineer? I should call him Engineer Emmanuel or...
Anyone, just call me Emmanuel. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this question is going to you. This question is, what was your motivation? And personally, on my channel, I've even talked about this issue of motivation and whatever like that. That I believe you don't really need motivation to start to do something. You get motivation after you start something, and then motivation keeps you going. So I think I would like you to talk about what was your motivation to actually keep on moving in the Russian university. It's actually not easy. It's not easy. I'm a living testimony that it's not very easy, the language and all of that. So what was really your motivation to keep on being the best? And yeah.
Okay. Truth be told, I think each and every one of us, like, we are being motivated differently, okay? But what worked for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not be working for me. But nonetheless, I would have to share my own story, right? So yeah, as we know, it's not always easy at the very first stage, coming to a place where you don't know anybody, you don't even understand their language and everything. Of course, you'd have all the reason not to be motivated. Or should I say, okay, at first when you come, right, you are excited. Finally, you've left Nigeria, okay? Finally, you are seeing white people. Like, it's as if a dream is about to come true. You're having a lot of things in mind already. You're having a lot of pictures of what you're going to achieve, what you're going to do. Maybe opening a YouTube channel, or being a sport model, or being a star footballer or anything. You're already having pictures in mind. But then you are being presented with reality, right? That, okay, first of all, we are not even understanding what you're saying. You have to go learn our language first, right? And, that alone could, by the time you finish learning the language, let me tell you the truth. Like, when I was done with the language university, yeah, okay, I felt like I could understand the language now because I'm done with the language university. And then they now pushed us to our main university where they now mixed us up with Russians. My very first lecture, the only thing I understood was this, and that's bye-bye. That's when the lectures finished. That was the only thing I understood. Then I was like, I thought I spent like months studying this language. Why is it that these guys are speaking as if, like, what I'm hearing is different from what they taught us? You understand? So it hits differently when you are being pushed to the main university. And then now you're in the main university, you are no more in the language university. The teachers in the main university, they believe that, okay, you've gone through the language university, you should understand what they're saying. So they come and they speak fast and then drop notes, or maybe give your class rep the notes and then leave the class. And then you're just there floating. You understand? Even when they give you the notes to go and read, you are still floating. You're like, what am I going to do? Or like, what am I supposed to do with this? You understand? So these alone are enough to make you lose motivation. But just like I said in the beginning of everything, like, as a student, or should I say as a person, you need to have foresight, all right? I think foresight is, having the ability to know, or having the ability to to aim higher, right? Know that, okay, this is what I want to do after now. This is what I'm targeting, right? And you have it in you have it within you that failure is okay. It's all right to fail. The only thing you have to do from that is learn from the mistakes. It's all right to fail. Like I failed. I'll not even lie to you. I failed like a lot of times, right? Um, I failed in different way, academically. You write your test, and then by the time everything comes out, you're not seeing like what you're seeing is that you are just seeing red pens everywhere. Wrong, maybe you use the wrong conjugation or you use the wrong sentence because it's not a language. See, so all these are, and you know within you that, okay, this topic, I know this topic, right? And I can express myself. I was asked to write it in English, but then you're not asked to write anything in English. Everything is in their language, so you are just limited by that, right? And then when the result comes out, the pain that's okay, the pain you are having, knowing that you would have done better had it was in English. It's so huge that it can weigh you down. All right, you would see that's where you see a lot of people suddenly like, okay, no wala, even if it's a C, let me just take C and go. It's not my language. I will not come and kill myself. You understand? That's why you start hearing stuff like that. It's not my language. Oh, me, I'll just do my best and let God do the rest. I know, yeah, we have to do our best and let God do the rest. But then you should also try to make it. We should also try to make it normalize failure. All right, normalize challenges. So you fail, but then you'd have to get up, right? You'd fail, it's normal. Just fail, normalize it, okay? But then know that you have to get up, all right? A lot of people, especially in Nigeria, and we are like, motivational speaker, or I bet my this thing and my situation and your situation, they are different. Don't even come and motivate me. Carry on your motivational speech and go one time. That's the mentality everybody's having. They believe that their problem is way above what you can understand, right? Me, I'm not trying to prognose into your problem, but personally, me, there was a time it was very difficult for me. I had to start listening to motivational speeches, all right? Like just to motivate me. I don't care whether what they're saying is true or not. All right, maybe they say that they went from having $17 to $3 million in 3 days. That one I don't care, right? Well, however they did it, it's no problem. But at least the motivation I draw from in every nonsense there is a sense. At least it gives you the understanding that, okay, anything is possible, right? I can still be the best. I can still rise back up. I can still get up. You understand? So me, I'd normally listen to like motivational speeches. I just try to keep myself motivated. I try to, I always try to come back. Whenever I feel like I come back and everything. And one good thing about Russia is that I don't know about every school, but my own school, you are having the opportunity to rewrite. Maybe let's say you fail a test, right? And you want to rewrite that test. That you're having the opportunity to rewrite that test, right? So me, I never underrated those opportunities. You see, I would fail the test, and then I would go and meet the teacher that I want to rewrite this test, and then the teacher would be like, okay, why do you think you can score better if you rewrite it? I'm like, I just want to rewrite it. They'll give you another date. Me, I'll come down another day. I'll come that other day and still fail the test, and then I'll still go and meet the teacher. You understand? So it's all about the just giving yourself the courage, to face failure. Even if it beats you down countless times, stand up more. You understand? So giving yourself the courage to face failure and fail and fail and fail to be able to do it right. Some people, there's this saying that whatever that is worth doing is worth doing right. Me, I don't believe that statement is correct. That statement should be whatever that is worth doing right if you know how to do it, right? But if you don't know how to do it, then whatever that is worth doing wrongly till you get it right. That's the completion of the statement for me. So I would always go and meet the teacher till they'll get tired. I'll be like, okay, no problem. I'll just come this day, come this day. They'll give you the impression that you are disturbing them. But at the same time, they're admiring your courage, right? You accepting that you don't know it and you are still fighting for what's better. You understand? Sometimes there was this, I think when I was in my third year, I had such an experience. Then the teacher was not, when I went the third time to go and meet her, she was not like, what do you even want, right? Like, you're already heading for a first class and this is just a B. Why do you still want an A? You could just forget the B. It's not going to stop you. I'm like, it's not about the first class. Me, I know that I can do better in this. So I need the opportunity to prove myself, right? So like sometimes they get annoyed, but it's not their life. Whether you are successful tomorrow or not is not their business, right? So you are the one, you know that this is your business, it's your right, it's your opportunity to build yourself. You have to fight for it because they'll not be the one to fight for you, right? You would have to fight for it. So, just push your limits, keep pushing it. You understand? And I assure you, like, it's all about self-motivation, right? There is nothing. Look, if you cannot motivate yourself, no motivational speaker, not even Jesus Christ, would motivate you. So it's all about self-motivation. Look for, like, try to push yourself. Don't give up on your dreams, right? Know what you want and go for it, even when you are not seeing the possibilities there. I'll give an instance of, I think, in 2018, when I was working towards creating a brochure, right? Like this, a brochure, a magazine for ASIR students. That's the Association of Nigerian Scholarship Students in Russia, Voronezh chapter. I was trying to create their own brochure. This is something that's never been done before, like a city creating a brochure. So I was like, okay, I want to do this. You see, I want to try something new. So I was the president then, so I told my executives about it. And one thing that you should know about Russia is that there we are all adults, right? We are all adults, and most times when you take a decision, you need to be able to stand by it even when every other person is not with you on that, right? So I talked to my executive about that, and then they were like, oh boy, you too overdrew. You get stuff like that. People that would want you to stay in the crowd, like, oh boy, you too overdrew. Maybe you've done this, you've done that, you've done this. Don't worry, don't stress yourself. Well, if you're going to do it, then do it. We will not join you. So me, I had to outsource stuff like, you need to surround yourself with people that will encourage you, even if they are not having much of your time. At least the little time that they give you, try to make good use of it. So me, I had to outsource. I had to, like, I spoke with Dr. Gerald here. Of course, I didn't know him that much, but of course, we've had stories, like we all hear stories of wonderful people. So I called him. Like, for me, he motivated me personally. I didn't even get the motivation from those around me. I didn't even get the motivation from my fellow executives. I'm just using this as an instance. So where I got the motivation from was somewhere far. So sometimes people around you are not those that will motivate you. You'd have to outsource for your own motivation if your self-motivation is not enough. So I embarked on that, and I wasn't even happy because the association, like the Voronezh association, wouldn't back me up on that, right? I'm just trying to use this as an illustration for the question that's been asked. The Voronezh association wouldn't back me up on that, so I knew that I had to embark on it regardless, because I've gotten to a state that if I should succumb, they're going to laugh at me. They'll be like, Oshe brochure producer, what's up now? Where's our brochure? Stuff like that. They will now make mockery of you. So me, I embarked on it knowing that my purse was empty. I wasn't getting the backup from the association. So I'll go to the printing company, and then I told them, I want to do a brochure. I want to create a brochure, and I want to know how much it's going to take. I'm even willing to pay right now. You see, and there, I wasn't even having anything in my pocket. So I was just trying to, make them think that, okay, to show them that I'm having the drive, like, the self-drive was there, right? And everything everything finally paid off. It was all a possibility. So here in Russia, sometimes whenever you make the decision to stand out from the others, you would have to bear the consequences. You would have to, people will tell you that, guy, you don't listen to advice, you are stubborn. Sometimes you not listening to advice would even get you into trouble. But guess what? You learn from it, right? So they'll tell you stuff that, this one, you don't even listen to advice, you like overdoing. They will tell you stuff like that. All right. But whenever you've made up your mind to stand out, to stand in the limelight, you would have to bear the consequences. But trust me, like, the end result is always nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I think we'll quickly move on to the next question. And this question, they're saying, how did you guys cope with your science subjects in your PADFAC? After your PADFAC, I guess, or when you were still just getting the language together, when you were not really good with the language, how did you cope with the science subjects? In my own school, I think after about 4 weeks or 5 weeks of just learning the language, they'll start adding the other courses one by one, they will start adding biology, then chemistry, then physics. So how did you actually cope at that stage when you just started getting the language? Dr. Gerald.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So the main thing I would say is that we all have different ways of learning. We all have different ways of getting knowledge. Do you understand? So personally, learning or studying a Russian language is one of the interesting things, interesting stories that I have. Why am I saying so? Because imagine when you've never heard something like ever in your life, and then you're hearing that for the first time, and you're trying to see like, oh, what does this even mean? Okay, so for me personally, how was I able to cope with the science? Okay, of course, medicine is science, and we already know what that is. How was I able to cope with the science part of? Okay, let me just maybe talk about in general. The main thing is this. Like Ifeanyi already said, you have to motivate yourself. That is the best and the first step you have to take, right? And then when you have motivated yourself enough, and that means that motivation now entails that, okay, you pick your book and tell yourself, you know what, I have to read, for example, I have to learn this language. Why? Because I need this language to use and study. Okay, so the first thing is that for every science subject, they have new terminologies in that field that you have to learn. Not just learning the general grammar, Russian grammar, or learning the general, speaking term. You have to also learn the terminologies that are still to your own field. Okay, so the first thing is that really helped me was that I love trying to read something in Russian and trying to read something in English as well, just to get a very general background. Why for me? Because, like I said, for us, that medicine is a very new thing. Even in English, it's still new to me. So it's like, whether you tell me in Russian, I speak in English, I still don't understand. But I have to put in effort personally to be able to understand what I'm being taught or what I need to learn. That was the first thing. How was I able to do that? Usually, I love watching videos. Okay? I love watching videos. I just go to YouTube, you type the topic, YouTube will suggest like a very lot of viewers and all. You maybe can go through the best. You can just look through the views and look through the comments. Okay, which one are they giving more likes? And then you flow the page. You just try to first learn that particular subject in English, right? And then you come back to read it again in Russian. Now, the very first thing I'm going to say is that the key to being able to cope in your science course in Russia determines on how well you learn the Russian language. That is the main thing that I have to say. Okay, I think it's my friend. Yeah, so if you don't learn the Russian language very well, being able to study in the language becomes very difficult. Why? Because you have to communicate with your teachers in the language. You have to explain yourself in the language. I've had difficult times when I knew what I was saying in English. Okay, I understood what the question is. They asked you a clear question. I understood what the question is, but my problem was that I don't know the correct form of verb to use in Russia to express myself. And at that same point, the teacher will look at you like, oh, you don't know you don't understand, right? But you understand. You're going to have situations like that, okay? But again, all these things that you have to be patient. You have to put in a little bit more effort in trying to read more to be able to get the knowledge that you need. Then you're also going to have situations where you don't even understand. Okay, so for example, now imagine that you come to medicine, then they usually speak one. Okay, for example, this terminology, for example, inflammation, right, means vaspalenie in Russian language, and then when they call the word in Russian language, right, you don't even know what it is, right? And then let's say some of them will even tell you know what, let's speak English, and they will even call it in English, inflammation. You still don't know what it is. So now the truth. And the problem here is it's not that you don't know, it's not that you don't understand the language. The point is that you don't even know what it still means in the science world. Now, everything still goes back to what? That you have to spend more time to be able to be conversant with the terminologies, to be able to be conversant with your subject, to be able to be conversant with the field you've chosen. If you don't spend more time with that subject will not be able to, adapt very well to it. So learning the Russian language is one thing. Learning the language is beautiful, it's awesome. But you have to be able to apply that language, right, in that particular field you've chosen. So for me personally, I watched Russian videos. I listened to Russian songs. Yeah, I love songs. So sometimes I remember some words from songs. I'm like, oh, and well, just remember pick some lines of song. For example, yeah, you remember, oh, that one means I love you. Remember, you just pick from the words, right? So, you pick some very little things from songs, from reading, listening to me. I enjoy Russian radios. Why? Because they crack a lot of not funny jokes, but I'm listening to Russia, so it's like my brain is helping me to process the whole thing. Now that really helps me to put my Russian language in check. Listening to radios, I enjoy it. So now you have to find what you enjoy. So the question is that what makes you happy? What can you comfortably enjoy? It could be listening to music. It could be watching films in Russian, reading Russian books, watching videos in Russian, right? And then learning those things in English. So in that way, you'll be able to get used to the language, learn how to apply the language in the science field you've chosen. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking in general here is because I don't have just medical students. If I had all medical students, I would have gone straight to talking about how well we can focus on the science, medical science. But in general, I think it's still the same thing. They have some, right? For example, in differentiation is a very big engineering word, right? Differentiation. It has its own meaning in Russian. So if you know that differentiation means this in Russian, you don't have a problem. Now, if you know how to solve the y to x, it means that even when they tell you differentiation, you know what I'm talking about. Right? But if you don't know it, you don't know it. So the first thing, you first have to understand the science you've chosen, spend more time in understanding what that particular science field has for you, right? And then you now come back to the Russian language. How will I be able to explain or say those things so that my teacher will be able to understand me? Because speaking is one thing, right? Like I said, when you go to the street, you're saying hello, hi, how are you? I'm fine. Give me bread, give me rice. I want loaf. How much is this? But when you come to your class, when you come for exams or tests, you're not asking your teacher, give me bread. You're not asking. He's asking you what is the history of Moscow in 1865. Maybe, for example, you have a history to imagine you have to now start explaining those things in the language. So it's a little bit different, but you apply the same tactics, trying to understand how this could be, right, in normal English, the one you understand, the language you understand. How can I even say this in English? Okay, let's say in 1685, right? This World War in 1945 happened, blah 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 blah. Right? That means you understand it in English. Now you come back to the same language you've spent 1 year learning, right? Okay, how will I be able to say this thing in the language? So that was how I was able to cope, and that's how generally we cope with new languages. It's not like there's a big magic or there's anything special about it. At first, of course, it's going to look like as if it's impossible, right? But again, when you put the right mindset in it, you are the best motivation that you need. Of course, a lot of people can always motivate, but like I would always say, you are the best person that you understand clearly what you're going through. Okay, you understand what you're going through. You understand how it's spinning you, where it's spinning you, and you are the best person to give yourself the best solution. So if you think talking to someone can help you, if you think spending more time can help you, like for me, spending more time helps me. Okay, some people they can read for 1 hour and they understand. Some people 5 hours they understand. You have to know yourself. If you think spending 1 hour will help you, why not? If you think spending 5 hours will help you, please spend your 5 hours, okay, and try to understand the science subjects. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I think it's already been explained. So it's not really that easy. You just have to put your mind to it, and I think if you put your mind to it, whatever you put your mind to, you know you can do it. Just like Emmanuel already said that it's you should normalize failure. So there are going to be obstacles, and it might not be fine at first, but if you keep on doing it well, if you keep on doing it, even though you fail, you might eventually get it right. Of course, you're even going to get it right. So the next question is, I think we're about to end, but quickly, I would like to ask these two questions. This question is it possible to get a master's scholarship without going back to Nigeria for youth service, like without going back home and then reapplying? Is it possible to get it directly here? Emmanuel, please, can you put light to this? Can you unmute yourself? Thank you very much.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, I said me, for example, I'm under a scholarship right now in Germany, and I didn't have to go home for that. I didn't have to go and do my NYSC for that. I don't know the type of, or else you're talking about master scholarship on FSB. Then the answer is yes. If your master scholarship, the master scholarship you're talking about is a part of, continuation of FSB, then yeah, you'd have to go home and serve. Then after serving, you'd have to like reapply again. But then if we are not talking about FSB scholarship, maybe another scholarship like the one I'm having now, like there are thousands of scholarships, right? A lot of scholarships. The thing is that, just like Dr. Gerald said, the problem you're having is the limitation of internet, right? We can't, or should I say, even if we are having the access to internet, we lack the information. So it's the information. Sometimes we focus more on finding data bundle for WhatsApp or data bundle for Instagram, So all those stuff are not important, but they are far more important things, you understand? So yes, there are lots of scholarships you can apply for. Just like I told you guys, even before I graduated, I think I was in my fourth year, second semester, my final semester, the beginning of my final semester. I've not even graduated. I was still writing my thesis when I got scholarships. All right. So me, I already knew where I was going to from Russia. All right. It was just that COVID was holding back, but I knew that, okay, once things ease off, I would leave Russia and go to the next place, right? So there are scholarships, and then the good thing now is that you don't really have to graduate first before you start applying for scholarships. That's the very good thing now. So what do I mean by that? I mean that there is something called transcript. That's for you. Okay, for me now, that I did a 4 years course. All I had to use was my results from first semester to third year second semester. I used it as my BSc result. It's called transcript. So now universities, they don't just take your BSc result. If your BSc result is not yet ready, then you can submit that transcript. So you can start as early as your fourth year first semester. That's by then you must have finished your third year second semester and you must have gotten your results. You go and ask your school for the transcript. They'll give you your transcript. That's your grades, the name of the subject, the hours by which you study the subject, and then you can translate it to English, notarize it, and then you can start applying for your master's already in various schools, many schools, like countless. There are lots of scholarships there. There are lots of schools there, right? So you start applying for scholarships, and then by God's grace, even before you graduate, just like me, you would have already gotten feedbacks, positive feedbacks, and bear it in mind, you can also get negative feedbacks from some, but at least you would get positive feedbacks and then you would have options, all right? But I'm not saying that it's 100% stuff that every university will give you positive feedback. Some will give you negative feedback for no reason. But at the same time, just like I said, you have to keep pushing, keep applying for various schools. They finish. Just keep applying. You have the time, all right? And then before you graduate, by God's grace, you should know where you're going to. All right. So these are informations all on the net. You go online, search for them. I don't know. I think you guys should. I'm having like the links, but I think you guys are far from needing it now, because by the time you guys get to your third year, a lot of things might have changed. They might have changed their links. They might have updated their links or stuff. But if you guys need to see the links again, I could send them to Ezekiel, the host, and then maybe we'll forward it to you guys. All right. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for putting light to that. Finally, the question we have today is to Dr. Gerald. And this question is about that, is it possible to work while studying? And how can we combine both together, like working and studying? How is it going to really affect our performances? Do we just have to focus on studying or juggle the two together?
Wow, that has always been like a very difficult question to answer. Why am I saying so? Because from my experience, I realized that people are different. Okay, so I could tell you that it's possible to work and study in Russia, and then at the same time, I could tell you that, but maybe a particular person, it's not advisable for the person to work and study. I don't know if you understand me, right? So let me approach it this way. There are some humans that can multitask, okay? It means that they can be doing, I have some friends that when I'm talking to them, I can be talking to them, they are talking to me, they at the same time they are typing someone else. And even if you look at that chat, they're even laughing. And at the same time, the other person is still cooking rice. And I said that maybe that person, maybe my crew, like he or she's washing clothes. Now that's what they call multitasking, right? Some people are very good at it, right? That is one. Number two, some people are well disciplined. When I say well disciplined, that's what I mean. When they tell you that they spend 2 hours sleeping, they mean it. They're not joking. It's no joke. Okay? If they tell you that they're going to read for 4 hours, they are serious. They're not joking. Okay? Now, for those set of people, they can be able to portion a certain number of hours to a particular duty while they do something else. Okay? Now, that was why I said by saying, yes, it's possible. Why? Because I personally, I think I fall into the first category of people that I won't say multitask, but I know how to put myself together, look at the dream or the goal I want to go to and achieve it. Okay, not everyone has that ability. Why am I saying so? Because sometimes there are some people that they spend like 6 hours on the internet, and I realized that when I was trying to talk to them, I realized that honestly they want to stop spending such amount of hours on the internet, but they can't stop. But for me, it was easier for me to say, you know what, after 2 hours, I'm not going to pass 2 hours on the internet. Okay. So yeah, it's possible to work in Moscow, and not just to work, and it's possible for you to engage in extracurricular activities. I'll use myself as an example. I work in Moscow. Okay. Number one, I work in Moscow. Number two, I am a freelancer as well in Moscow. It means that I provide services to people. So that is called, it's freelancing. It means that people need my services, right? It's not like I'm working. Okay. So when I mean I work, I have a contract job that I work in Moscow. That apart from that, I also I still have a freelancing job that I do in Moscow, right? Apart from that, I have other activities that I still do, like for example, heading this association, the president of just international students in your school. At the same time, you're doing this. At the same time, you're working for your school media team and all. That is perfect, and that is possible. And at the same time, I was still giving enough time to my academics. Okay. Now, in recent times, I'm so happy because at least here we have Samuel. Samuel, I think, is a blogger, right? I don't know if they call them. They are bloggers, right? They have time to sit on the internet and create content, and then push for people to encourage people and all. Look at, we have the student place. This is part of what I'm saying now. They are doing so well in their school. Of course, I don't know that much, right? If they're doing very well, but I believe they're doing so well. And then that's still creating this opportunity for us to talk here. We have Samuel, we have a lot of people that are into maybe talking about her. I think we have, let me see if she's here. We have Dorcas. Yeah, she's here. They create contents, they teach you a lot of things. And for me, I'm like looking at them like, oh, you guys motivate me, because I don't know how you guys are able to combine this and study well in school. Okay, so it's 100% possible. But so that's why I said at first, I don't want you to limit your mind to that, oh, you're coming here to study. Okay, so, and I always tell people that at the end of the day, the money I have as a person, it's not from working as a medical. Up until now, it's not like I'm earning much working in the hospital, right? But from freelancing, I'm a professional photographer. I shoot high events and they pay me a lot of money. Okay, I that's how I'm able to take care of myself. And at the same time, I know when it's time for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to shoot these photos. Why? Because if I shoot them, it's going to affect my school time, right? Then at the same time, there has been this myth that foreigners can't work in Russia. So it is true in the sense that when you begin to go deep down into their system, you realize that as a foreigner, you need to get a permission to be able to work. So it's possible to get that permission, but it's difficult to get the permission. So that is why most people say, oh, as a foreigner, you cannot work. And number two, your visa is a study visa. It's called Uchoba 005. They have different types of it. They have working visa in Russia. They have, so as the terms of that working visa means that, sorry, the study visa means you cannot work officially in a job unless you have that permission to work. Okay? It means that if you have the permission to work, yes, you can officially work in Russia. I know students that are officially working in Russia, okay? But if you don't have the permission to work, the best approach I always give students are like, Russia is a place where you also have to learn the gifts that God has given you. You have to discover these gifts and you have to put those things in use. I know students that do so well because they know how to cut hair. They make money from cutting hair. That means they are the ones that are providing these services and people are coming to them for the services and they are being paid for it. I know students that plait hair and are using it to take care of themselves that are doing so well. I know people that are into different entrepreneurship summits, business, and are doing so well. I know students that own websites, they run websites, they sell shoes, they are doing so well. So the question is led for you. And like I said, I'm a professional photographer. I mean, by God's grace, yes, and I do so well in it. So it's now the question is led for you to discover your own field, right? What can I do apart from studying? Studying is okay, we understand that. What can I do that at the same time I'm being useful to my own self? I'm developing my gifts, I'm increasing my experiences, and at the same time doing so well in school. That is if you are that kind of person, if you're in the first category of people, right? Now, if you are not in that first category, I won't advise you to work. I won't advise you to think about these things. I would advise you to fix the primary aim while you are coming to Russia, which is to study. Why? Because if you have any problem with your schoolwork, every other thing is affected. For instance, I can be doing so well in school, but if I don't get clients to shoot photos, I'm okay, right? I mean, I'm still in Russia, right? But if I'm doing so well, taking those pictures in Russia, making money, and I don't do so well in school, and they expel me, I have to leave Russia. It means at the end of the day, I'm losing both things. That was why I said you first have to, it starts from you understanding yourself. Not everybody can multitask and not everybody's advised to multitask, okay? If you know you're very well that you're struggling with the language, you first have to start with the language. Now, for me, that's it, I'm multitasking. I'm also going to give you steps on how I did it. Why? Because from the very first day, I didn't start shooting photos, no. I started taking photos and I started doing some of my activities after my third year. So for those in medical school, it's called the basic science courses. That was when I started doing a whole lot of things. Before then, I was doing something quite all right. It was just church, leadership, school. Like, when I say school, I mean schoolwork, right? And then, because why? I wanted to understand what I was reading. I wanted to understand what I'm doing, right? So I spent my first 1, 2, 3 years understanding how the system works, like how it's really, it's how it happens here, okay? So it's the same thing when you come to Russia. Come on, I heard people from the very first day telling me, oh, I want to do this. I know all those things should be cultivated in your dreams. But you first have to understand your place in the country. You first have to understand, what can I do here? What do I think I can do here? I have people that are doing, I don't know, he was there before. It's called, it's still here, Gabi Connect. What does he do? They run errands. Okay, these are like bosses that look, I'm telling you, these are, all these people I'm telling you, that are big BEA current bosses that we have right now in Russia, okay? I mean, all of us, we are old. These are the current happening people here in Russia. If you don't know them, you're not a scholarship student. They are doing so well, and at the same time, they're also balancing their schoolwork. Now, I have to also tell you of the students that have done worse and they have been expelled and they went back to Nigeria, okay? So for I served in the I live in Moscow. There was a time I was even the only scholarship student in Moscow. There was a time we were only like 2 scholarship students in Moscow. There was a time we were like 10. So it's been very funny. And I mean, we are very close to the embassy. So sometimes, and I know quite a lot of students because in one way or another, I get to know students, right? So I also get to see that some students do extremely bad because they were engaging themselves in some activities and they couldn't handle it. I know of students that started a club and in Rostov, I don't know if he's today, he clubs a lot and he was expelled and all. I know of students that club and they don't expel them. I know of students that they came and they started smoking, they send them back to their country. I know of students that came here, they said doing business and they were expelled. Okay, so at the end of the day, it really depends on you. Why am I saying this? Because it's you know your personality more than I do. Okay, if you feel you can be able to handle this and handle this, why not go for it? But like I said, I always want to advise you to look for other things that you enjoy doing in life, not just be a nerd, just read book, open book, go to school. It is very good. And like I said, it's very, very good. Like at least at the end of the day, you should be known for something, okay? Be known for something. But if you know that you can't combine studying, right, and doing any other simple thing, please don't bother, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, you're losing both things. You're losing your academics, you're going back to Nigeria, and then you're losing whatever you're doing here, okay? So the first thing is to plant yourself in the community, get to understand yourself better, and then, yeah, there are opportunities. I mean, if you can make hair, I mean, if you're in Nigeria, please learn how to make hair, learn how to cut hair, sorry, because you can become, you also you can be the boss cutting hair, making some money to eat. So even when the government doesn't pay, you have money to use and buy bread and co. Yeah, so there are a lot of things. I know people that dance in club, that dance church, they dance for the school, they dance like outside school, like they have different, like let's say clubs, music clubs where they dance. I know people that know how to play the guitar, they pay them, they know how to play the piano, and also it depends now. Everything now boils down to your city, right? But these opportunities are here and it's accessible to everyone. But you first have to understand yourself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very comprehensive explanation of you should pick whether you should know yourself first before you go into this kind of things, and you have to determine if you can really undo it, and you need to prioritize which one is most important to you. And I think Ezekiel had a video on his channel. I think his last video, he was talking with Benjamin. I think they had this topic. They were talking about working and all of that. You can check that video out to learn more about that. So, to the glory of God, we've come to the end of this session. But before we end, I think is Emmanuel still around? Probably.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like both of you to give final charges, just very, very short charges to the students, those that are already here and those that are coming, just some sort of word of encouragement to them. Both of you, but I think Emmanuel will go first.
Okay, yeah. I think it's better that I go first, so my boss can.
My boss.
So yeah, for everybody, it's nice meeting you all, and I hope that each and every one of us, we are having one or two in mind towards our successes. Some of us might end up coming to Russia, some of us might end up not coming to Russia, but either ways, I would encourage you guys to learn, never to give up. And in this life, as a toxic problem, no, they finish. Like, just don't give up, okay? Just keep yourself motivated, stay positive. It's very, very needed to stay positive. Surround yourself with people that would help you grow. Honestly, as you come here and leave your parents and then you come abroad, basically you're alone. You'd have to start picking your own circles by yourself. And you are, let me say, at least a very reasonable percentage of your achievement, or a very reasonable percentage of your stay, of your achievement, of your successes and your failures, they are dependent on the people that you call friends or the people that you call your circle. So you surround yourself with people that will push you, that will make you expand your limit, expand your horizon. So that's just it. And whatever you do, don't forget home. That's when you leave home. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget where you're coming from. Some of us, we come here and then we get carried away by, the fact that we are abroad. Before you know it, it's over. You're not having any other option. The option you're having is for you to enter plane and go back home. So don't forget who you are. Stay humble. Learn from people. All right. Even those that are not your friends, they are having one or two to teach you directly or indirectly. Learn from them, and then put everything to good use. And do not forget God. Most importantly, put everything in God's hands too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Gerald.
Yeah, our engineer has really said everything. I don't know what else I can add to this. So it's a pleasure having each and every one of you here. Thank you so much for coming to listen to my boring speech, my boring anything. And I actually intend on doing this more because I realize that some of us, these are the things that we really need to be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve. We need to look at people that at least they started from the same place where we started from, and then they got to wherever they are, right? So thank you, Ezekiel, for such an opportunity, and I hope to probably meet each and every one of you, even if it's in person or anywhere we meet. I mean, maybe on social media, on Instagram, and all. Thank you for thank you, Samuel. Thank you, the students that are already here that are in Russia that are currently joining. Thank you so much for joining to also encourage each and everyone that is here as well. And I would like to, what I say, just encourage the ones that are already here because it's not easy. It's not easy leaving Nigeria to come to a foreign land where you're meeting a lot of difficulties, right? But that was how we had the same thing, and today we are here, thanking God for everything. And like our engineer Emmanuel said, he said, "Don't forget where you're coming from." So that's one thing that always kept me because I always look back to where I started from and where I'm going to. So when I look at those two things, it helps me to discipline myself at every point in time. There are times, okay, maybe we want to spend a lot of money and all. It helps us to discipline ourselves. So yeah, don't ever forget where you're coming from. And thank you so much. And thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Doctor. We have another doctor in the house, Dr. Firen. Currently, she's in UK. So once a former scholarship student as well, like you. So the truth is that no matter where you're studying from right now, even if you don't get the federal scholarship or you get any other scholarship, I don't know, from any other place, or you don't even get scholarship at all, there's one principle in life that we don't ever fail, okay? It's okay for you to fail, but it is not okay for you to give up. It's okay for you to fail. It's okay for you to, like our engineer said, it's not everyone that will get a scholarship. Oh yeah, it's okay for you to fail, but it's not okay for you to give up. I had those times when I failed. I had the times when I was like, okay, this is like the end of it, right? But by the end of the day, we are still moving. I've not gotten to where I'm going to, but I'm still moving. Okay, so I just want you to realize that nothing in this life worth you giving up. Okay, it's okay for you to fail in whatever you're doing. It's okay for you to fail that exam, for you not to get a scholarship, for you not to get admission in whatever school you want to go to in UNEC. All those things, they frustrated us, even me. It frustrated me. I remember. It's okay, but giving up, it's never an option. It's never an option for you to give up, for you to quit on that dream. It's never an option. And by God's grace, God is always going to strengthen you. I mean, help you to overcome whatever challenge you are facing. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us. I don't know. Maybe Ezekiel can share my Instagram handle. I mean, feel free to follow and then write me up and then we can connect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And I'm very grateful for giving us this opportunity to, for honoring the opportunity actually to come and speak to the students. And I'm very grateful to our biggest entrepreneur, Student Life. I'm still learning from him, our boss man. I said Student Life, Student Place, that has brought this together and put all this together. Thank you very much. So I think I'm going to hand over back to you. I'm done with my work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. I so much appreciate. I also want to thank Dr. Gerald and Engineer Emmanuel for making it out to be with us here today. In fact, I learned a lot. There are so many misconceptions I had before this meeting that have been corrected. Like, I so much appreciate everything, like the information passed across and everything you guys told us. I so much appreciate. And if you have further questions to ask, you can also message me on WhatsApp. I believe most of you have my WhatsApp contact, and so if you also want to reach out to Dr. Gerard or Engineer Emmanuel, you can also talk to me. I can connect you to them. So thank you once again, everyone who made that time to join, and my seniors here that I can see, our able entrepreneur Gabi. Thank you for joining. and other seniors who are here too, even the ones I know and the ones I don't even know. I appreciate you guys for coming, and every other person that is here. I thank you all for coming, and I believe you've learned a lot from today's session. And if you are here, you've not subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please do that. You can also subscribe to Freeze Control. Like on that channel, you will get a lot of information about student life. Just subscribe to the Student Place and also reach out to Freeze Control on YouTube, and you get content that will help you as a student to build yourself. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope to see you in our further meetings, and we hope you watch our videos. So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, once again, and thank you, Dr. Gerald, once again. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of today's
You're
meeting.
welcome.
Goodbye. God bless you. Have a wonderful week that starts today. Bye, everyone.
All right, take care. Goodbye. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.